G'day, welcome to Markets How to Work. Today I want to go through a sort of a brief video or conversation starter of the question, what would be the one cartridge I would have if you had to choose one only? For whatever reason that might be, you had to choose one only. I think sometimes people are trying to work out what they'd want to buy. I think sometimes it is just that, a conversation starter, and all the different things in what that question could mean. But I suppose I've got a range, just a small portion of what I've used and an even smaller portion of what's out there, but it's sort of a moderate range, sort of set up in little to big, which I'll sort of point out a little tiny bit of it before I go through and say what one I would pick. We've got the handgun cartridges largely down here. Well, it's a 22 long rifle, but largely handgun cartridges down here from old to new with different effective power and that sort of stuff, but all straight wall handgun cartridges which have their job in, be it self-defense or in target shooting, that sort of stuff, and are all good cartridges. The likes of, we've got the sort of sort of military, this is the 308 and the 223, which are if you line them up with the 5.56 and the 7.62, then you're talking about what's NATO rounds and all over the world. So very easy to find, still very effective, not quite as efficient as some of the modern stuff, but that's sort of a bit of nature through here as well. You've got the shorter, fatter ones here with tougher cases. There's the 6.5 PRC and the 6mm BR and those sort of stuff. Tend to be very effective, more target shooting, tend to be less comfortable in magazine feeding. Some of them are fine, but they are effective sort of shoulder angles and that sort of stuff with more effective, more high ballistic coefficient projectiles set up for doing better in the way of target shooting, but tend to be a little bit shorter in barrel life and a little more expensive to run because of the nature they are. We've got a couple of three of, we've got the 45-70 and the 445-120 Sharps and the 505 Gibbs. Stuff that is from safari round to sort of the first sniper round to, a very, very effective round used all over the place, military as well, but the 45-70 government, great old rounds from around the 100 to 130 years ago. In amongst this, the 3-straight Lapua, the 300 Norma, the 408 Chi-Tac, all more military designed firearms, rounds designed with the ability to feed and magazines and that sort of stuff. Very effective long range target and long range sniping jobs. So expensive to run, very, very efficient and effective rounds, carry a lot of energy down range. So they have their merits. And then the topping that out there with the 50 BMG and the 416. 50 BMG is a machining gun, not quite as accurate, can be made accurate with a lot of effort and very heavy guns, but really what the military did to turn that into more of from a machine gun round to a sniper round was go to the 416 Barrett. And like I said, beyond that point, there's literally dozens of rounds that you can talk about the conversation, but that's a reasonable spread and an idea of it. I would say, as for the conversation of what's the best, once you put a specific in it, it changes everything. If you specifically have this, you've got to do as well. You've got do this, but you've got to protect yourself from bears as well. Then the 45-70 and the shotgun come into a thing above all else sort of stuff because of their versatility and their hit knockdown power. If it's self-defense, then you've got to look in your handgun sort of stuff, and there's the AR-15s and with that sort of stuff. So there's choices, but it tends to be more in the handgun stuff or the shotgun side of things tend to go there. If your specific has long-range target shooting or long-range sniping or something involved with it and depends on what your conditions are or what the target is, that sort of stuff, then you move into the top end of things. If you move into specific target shooting as one of your specifics, then okay, you're in these more effective specific target rounds in there. But if it is really, you don't know what the future holds, and it could be any one of those things. You want to do target shooting as well, but you want to have self-defense, but you want to have versatility. You don't know what's coming forward. If it might be about the ammunition you can get. Your area has millions of 5.56 rounds, so yeah, that has its own advantage. But as a general view, I would pick, and this involves from expense, this involves from the ability to play with, the ability to use effectively, the ability to, in a moment to play, that plink, that sort of stuff, or practice or train, the cost that would cost to do that sort of stuff, the wear of how it's going to wear out, all that sort of stuff. That's what I'd pick. The 22 long rifle. It is still super effective used in the right fashion. I've heard ridiculous stories of Northern Territory buffalo being killed with one shot with one of those. I think it was in the ear or something like that. But it can still do this thing. It has a record of kills, which is monstrous. I don't know if it's still a leading cause, but in that sort of stuff, but it has done that sort of job. The real thing of those are all anecdotal comments to go through the fact of what it can do. What it really can do, what we know, is it's a great training tool. It's a great plinking tool. It's almost impossible to wear out a 22 out of firing it. You can wear it out the barrel out of cleaning it. You can wear out of misuse in the way of bashing it around the place. But shooting ammunition through it, no, it doesn't really wear out. You can buy a brick of 500 rounds very cheaply, so you can get 4 of them without spending too much money, and stick that in the back of the safe so that if all else runs out, you've still got it. It can't be reloaded, so there's a disadvantage. Well, not without a fair bit of effort, it can't be reloaded. So there's a moderate disadvantage there. But of course, we can only reload if we've got primers. And it's probably easier to get 22 long rifle ammunition than it is to get primers. So ultimately, I think overall, it wins. It's such a wonderful thing to play with. It's such a wonderful thing to train with, in a way of if you really were hunting for food, that sort of stuff. You cannot use it as a 300 Win Mag or a 6.5 PRC or a 300 normal or any of the bigger hunting rounds that can kill things out at 500 meters or 600 meters. Okay, the 22 can't do that. But you can do a better job of stalking, and you can get closer, and you get in that 50-yard range and do that job properly, or 100-yard range, really probably 50 yards more than 22, or 20 yards, it can still do that job. So hunting a trophy stag, it's not going to do. Hunting to feed yourself, it can do. So I think in the shit hit the fan sort of thing versus all other forms of looking at just having one, you're downsizing and you can't afford anything else. You just want one firearm, you want to do everything. You go and target shoots, there's lots of competitions with the 22. It's great to have other people be able to use it and train other people or teach other people or show up about firearms, because it's so lacking in recoil and unoffensive to use. I think it's an awesome round. There are other awesome ones here too, you know, the likes of the versatility of the shotgun, the versatility of the 45-70, there's all the 308, all that sort of stuff. There's lots of other very good rounds. I'm not trying to say inherently that it's better than any of them, but I think if you put it in the big mix, then it ends up being the one I'd have if I could have no others. Anyway, I'm sure there's other decisions to that or answers to that question. That's my answer and where I sit. Yeah, let us know what you think. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for checking in, and we'll catch you next time.